Errors are the part of programming. While building a program, you may have to deal with different types of errors. So, we need to handle all those errors to make a efficient program. We can use different tools or techniques to overcome errors, like removing the code that is creating error or having a check or restrictions or conditions to manage errors. In this video, we will discuss one of the tool or feature of Rust to counter errors in our program. Before we begin, first we need to predict or need to have an idea of which code may create a runtime error and deal with it accordingly. For example, let's say we have a vector which stores to-do tasks. In our program, users has ability to fetch tasks as per the position or serial number. So there is a big chance of users trying to fetch tasks at a position which do not exist. To handle this situation, we will use an enum with two options. One will return the task if it exists in that position. If it is not, it will return the error. Here we have this struct to-do list which have this field task of type vector. In this implement block, we created this getTask method which receives this index of type usize and returns the task which is at this index provided. Moving on to this main function, we created the instance of this to-do list and called the getTask method with index 5. Let's run the code. As expected, the thread main panic at index out of bounds. Here, in this task vector, we have 4 elements. But here, we are trying to access element at the index 5, which is unavailable in this task vector. Now, let's create an enum result to deal with this error. Here we are taking these two types of generic data type, one for the value and one for the error. When we get any value from an operation, we'll provide that via this OK option. And if we get any error, we'll provide that via this error option. Now, accordingly, let's change this getTask method as well. Instead of ampersand string, we will return result which will be of type ampersand string and ampersand str. Here we have modified this getTask method to return a result instead of the string that we are returning earlier. inside of this function, here we are checking if the index provided to us is larger than the length of our vector task. If it is so, this will return this result OK with the element at this index. Else, we will return this result error with a message index out of bounds. Let's run the code. Beside this warning, here you can see we have got no error. While handling error, this result type of enum is very useful. This is the reason it comes built in Rust and preloaded to our Rust file. Even if we remove this enum result from here, our code will still work. Let's run the code. Perfect. We can print this fetch result as well. Let's change this index to 1 and run the code again.